dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight. Peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace. Speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get to battle here from Michigan International Speedway. It is the HCK Beagles Truck Series here, sponsored by Morphosis Machine LLC, as we get rolling here for our final race, our final elimination race here of the season before our championship 5 move on into our final 3 races to duke it out for the championship. As we are quickly green flag racing here, we would have been live probably 5, 6, 7 minutes prior to this point, but unfortunately we didn't realize that iRacing had a huge update here today, so we were waiting for that update to kind of go through. Took a little bit longer than we expected, but now here we are, rocking and rolling, battling out there on the racetrack, and each and every one of these drivers looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane here this evening at Michigan International Speedway. As out in front, it is the Metamorphosis Machine number 18 of Jacob Group, with that outside momentum going to pay dividends for the 45 ride as Chris Gilbert battling to his outside. Gilbert looking to try to steal that top spot away from Group here this evening. Brad Lane back there in that third position as Bobby Blair and Nicholas Snyder in the 75 and the 5 ride battle here down across the line. Blair will stay in that 4th position. Snyder back in that 5th spot on the speedway. And here comes Jason LePan. Racing, chasing Jason LePan up and into position number 4 on the racetrack here. Big move through the middle, going 3 wide to get around Nicholas Snyder and battling to the inside of Bobby Blair. The outside momentum, though, for Blair will keep him in that 4th spot, but it's Jason LePan who's looking to make some early race moves here, trying to put himself right to the front of the field. As Snyder falls back to 6th, we do see Blair fall back into 5th, and then we do see the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters number 77 of Brandon Domingue. He's battling door to door there with that Tim's Tiny Boat Adventures Just Fishing number 4 ride, as the juke joint, the Frets for Pets machine, rolls there to his outside in the 8th position. It's Tim Blankenbackler back in position number 9 on the racetrack. You do see that Waffle House number 14 of Kyle Wiggins, and right behind him that Ridge Powersports KR Gutters number 469 Ryan Peterson. Back in 11th, it is the number 13 ride. It is that beautiful Chevy Silverado, the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters machine of Kyle Van Tassel, who brings up the rear of the field. Is again not a huge field of drivers, but it's quality over quantity out there on the speedway, and we are probably going to see a lot of good hard green flag racing here at Michigan International Speedway this afternoon. Big racetrack, a lot of grooves, a lot of room out there. Now we could still see things get a little bit sketchy. We could see a few issues and a few problems for some drivers out there on the racetrack, but for the most part, I think we're going to see a lot of green flag laps here tonight, and knowing these drivers, know the caliber that they're at out there on the speedway, it could stay clean and green for all 85 laps here this evening. It would not surprise me if we saw these guys go 85 laps non-stop green flag out there on the speedway, as Group continues to hold down the top spot here. But you see LePan back there with that Richard Bradshaw Warrior Racing number 20 ride, continue to try to work his way forward here, running more of that inside groove. Now the big question mark will be, is he burning and using up more of his tires right now at this point of the race compared to some of the other drivers out here at the front of the field? And that could be the big thing out there on the racetrack. And even already after just 6 laps of racing action, you can see Nicholas Snyder really starting to work his way forward. He's gotten back around LePan, as LePan a bad exit there at a corner number 4, and unfortunately he'll fall back into that 6th position as Bobby Blair will work his way right back to his outside. But it seems like Snyder maybe held back there a little bit, maybe waited for his time to strike, and now here he is working his way up to the front of the field as, oh, look out, 77 truck right there. Brandon Aming took a quick shot down to the apron right there. Luckily enough, able to catch it, able to keep it rolling, pointed in the right direction, and he will stick in about the 8th position as 77 ride trying to find as much speed and momentum as he can out there on the racetrack. But right now, this is going to play out a lot like a drafting track, but it's a lot more, a lot more racy here. It's not going to be nose to tail, especially through the corners. You're going to see all these drivers kind of running, 3, 4, maybe even 5 different kind of lanes out there on the racetrack, and it's going to be up to the other drivers on when they want to make moves, where they want to be, and try to, line someone up, try to size them up, and try to get one of those big runs, try to take that speed and momentum to work your way up and in to another position on the racetrack. And for Jacob Grube right now, he's just rolling out in front. He knows that these guys are going to be working to his back bumper. They're going to be drafting closer and closer to him here. So for the 18 ride, he's going to have to be really defensive here of this race lead. I don't think until we start to see some of these green flag pit stops or anything else that drivers will get kind of broken apart and see them kind of get moving around more out there on the racetrack and really open this racetrack up. I think as of right now, we're going to see it a lot more, like it is right now. Very, very racy. Everyone's tight together. That first pit stop, though, could break things wide open and allow a lot of drivers to kind of separate themselves from the rest of the field out on the speedway. And for Grube, he's just looking to try to keep himself right here at the point, hitting his marks, not making any mistakes out here, and just hoping to see them continue to battle, use their stuff up back behind him as Snyder trying to hold on to that 2nd position. Bobby Blair working his way up here as we did see Chris Gilbert there a couple laps ago get up into that outside fence as the 18 of Grube kind of slid up the racetrack there, and unfortunately for the 45 ran out of room, tagged that outside wall. You gotta hope not a lot of right side damage there for the 45 ride, but you do see him falling back, so you gotta wonder if maybe that kind of just killed his momentum, put him into a tough position out there on the speedway. And now for Chris Gilbert, just trying to hang on to that truck, trying to keep it up here inside the top 5 as LePan and Wiggins right there behind him, ready to strike, ready to make some moves. And here comes Brandon Aming and Ryan Peterson, Tim Blankenbeckler right there in that battle as well. Unfortunately, Kyle Van Tassel a little farther back there in that 13 ride as Janelle in the chat says, "Let's go!" Says hashtag Ridge Powersports and KR Gutters. Ridge Powersports, KR Gutters, man, we can't be here doing this without them and their support here of the series. Huge shout out there to Ridge Powersports and KR Gutters here again this afternoon. But out in front, it is our titled sponsor here of the series. It is that main truck here for the Morphosis machine. Number 18 rider Jacob Grube, who continues to lead the way. He's led the first 11 laps of this feature event, but here comes that 5 of Nicholas Snyder. We know here for the last few weeks and almost all season long, it has been kind of the Jacob Grube, Nicholas Snyder show week after week after week. Now, we've had a few really good runs, a lot of good surprises. Other drivers find victory lane, but it always seems to be that it's down to Grube or Snyder. If they make a mistake, if they run into a problem or an issue out there on the racetrack, that they can find their way forward and find themselves potentially, stealing the wins or just, 1-2 out there on the racetrack like they have been so many times in the past. It is definitely going to be interesting to see, who can jump up here, surprise us, maybe put together a really good race and potentially lock their way into the next round of our playoffs and go battling for a championship over our final 3 races of the season, as we did see the 13 ride of Kyle Van Tassel. Van Tassel came down pit road here on lap number 11, so a little bit of an off-sequence pit strategy here for the 13 ride. Not 100% sure what the call was there, but he comes down pit road only after 11 laps of racing action. And for Kyle Van Tassel, he finds himself a lap down here. Now he does potentially either have more fuel or more tires. Maybe somehow the strategy will work out for him, but he was already quite a ways back behind the rest of the field here. It's going to be tough for him to kind of gain and draw into these guys and hope to kind of leapfrog them in any sorts to try to work his way back into the action. But we may see more and more drivers start to work their way down pit side as Gilbert falls back into that 6th position. Bobby Blair rolling the outside lane, and here comes Kyle Wiggins finally working his way up inside the top 5. Wiggins there in that 5th position, looking to steal another spot away here from Bobby Blair, but Bobby doing a great job on corner exit as they're door-to-door again for the race lead and across the line. Too close to call right there whether Snyder led that lap or if Jacob Grube led another one, but you do see Snyder out in front. He has been able to take that race lead away from Jacob Grube. Grube falling back into 2nd here. You're going to wonder, maybe just a little bit too strong, a little bit too tough on those tires throughout the first, 11, 12 laps of this race, and now starting to feel a little bit of that heat here build up in that 18 ride, and now start to struggle just ever so slightly, but he's not done yet. He's going to continue to battle. We know this 18 ride always got something up his sleeve as you see the 5 get really loose there at a core number 4. My gosh, I don't know how Nicholas Snyder did not just almost go any round out there on the speedway, but that was a close call right there for him as Grube and Snyder 1 and 2 door to door like so many times in the past in so many races. It's been those two at the front of the field duking it out, and you see Brad Lane trying to poke this quick trip number 1 ride right into the battle here. He's one of those drivers that's looking to lock his way into the next round of our playoffs, and I know Bobby Blair's right there as well. He's another one that's going to be really tight right on the edge of probably being able to make it into that championship round. And then you look back at Kyle Wiggins and Chris Gilbert as well, even Brandon Deming. These guys are going to be really, really tight when it comes down to the points here this evening and trying to earn some big stage points here in stage number 1 may be exactly what they need to try to lock themselves into that championship round out there on the speedway. But woo, hang on to it. Gilbert sideways down and out of corner number 2, and my gosh, somehow or another that Jegs.com ride able to keep it pointed the right direction as Chris Russo, hopefully I'm saying that right, Chris coming in, hitting that subscribe button, becoming a brand new member of the Peacemaker family here this evening. Chris, welcome into the Peacemaker fam. As out in front, it is still on like Donkey Kong as the 5 of Snyder trying to hold off and run away from Jacob Grube, and now Grube's kind of got his hands full here, tight down into core number 1. Him and the 1 of Brad Lane slicing and dicing up here for 2nd, and you see Wiggins trying to get wound up here on the outside groove. Gets a big run down the back straightaway. Now he's going to get locked to the back bumper of his teammate. That will push Brad Lane up and into that 2nd position, and it looks like Wiggins will follow him right on through into 3rd. And unfortunately for Jacob Grube, maybe after just trying to run as hard as he could throughout the first, 10, 12 laps of this race, leading the pack here, allowing them to kind of draft off his back bumper, maybe chewed up his tires a little bit more than I think he wanted to, and unfortunately is now fallen back into that 4th spot on the speedway. As Richard Bradshaw in the house says, let's go number 20, LePan in the 18 of Grube, says Richard Bradshaw in the house. Let's go, Richard. Let's go, baby. Richard coming in, showing the love here in this one. As Anna says, what's up, my peeps? What's up, Anna? How are you, Mrs. Alessandro? How you doing? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday night. As some great racing here, and oh, baby, look out. It's getting packed here at the front. Oh, man, Snyder washed up. The 14 of Wiggins got the outside fence, and all of a sudden, Grube is right back into the battle here at the front of the field. Jacobs poked his nose right back down to the inside, worked his way around Brad Lane, now looking for another spot as we see the 14 way up the racetrack there in what we would call probably the Kyle Larson line, and now you see the 18 able to just slide up in front of him right there. Nowhere for the 14 ride to go, and unfortunately got a little squirrely there out of corner number 2. 2, and unfortunately kind of slid back there ever so slightly as Anna says just got home from work. Well, Anna, hopefully you had yourself an absolutely wonderful, wonderful shift. Hopefully it wasn't too hard. Hopefully it was good, and hopefully it was a great day for you at work. As Brian Underwood in the chat says, Peacemaker equals daddy. Oh my gosh, Brian, you're gonna make me bust, brother. No, I'm just kidding. You're gonna make me blush, maybe make me blush a little bit. Call me daddy in the chat like that. As Jimmy 3 times says, Anna, Landon is gonna lose on Saturday. Oh my gosh, Jimmy, give her a break. It's only Tuesday. Don't let her worry about that until Saturday, okay? Don't put that stress. Don't you put that evil on her. Come on now. She's a nice lady. As he says, Noah will be the champ. Oh no. Oh no. Noah Blackwell, the champion of the Redemption Racing Series. I don't know. I don't know if it's got a ring to it. I don't know if Noah can get it done. It'll be really cool. I mean, for those drivers, it's going to be fun to see who comes out on top. I know Dylan's going to be competitive. It's all going to be really, really fun out there on the speedway. As Anna says, shut up, Jimmy. Yes, shut up, Jimmy. And that's Josh. Jimmy is Josh. It is Josh. But she says, "Where's your husband tonight?" Oh gosh, don't get him in here. Don't get him going. Come on now. Come on now, Joshua. Get it together. Be nice. Be nice. Keep it civil in the chat with your mom. Oh, okay. Anna's going to fire back. She's going to clap back like that. Okay, Anna, I'm on board. Fucking get him. Get him. Go for the throat. No, just kidding. As Snyder continues to lead the way here. Wiggins there in second, but Groob still working down to his end. Oh, my gosh. I'm not even going to read the chat anymore, okay? I'm not even going to read the chat anymore. You guys handle this on your own, okay? As Jacob Groove still trying to find his way around Kyle Wiggins. Unfortunately, that outside momentum just proving too strong here for Mr. Wiggins, for Groob to try to come back from and try to get back around him. But there you go. You see the 14 running a little bit more of that middle, and look how loose he's getting down and out of corner number 4. My gosh, what a couple great saves right there for Wiggins. But I think that also killed a little bit of the momentum for the 18 ride of Jacob Groob, and for the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. He is out in front, and he's looking to run away with it, as we did see Jason LePan already make his first pit stop of the evening back on lap number 19. Brandon Deming also just down pit side there on lap 22. He's rolling back out onto the racetrack, but you got to wonder here, what are these guys going to do here? What are their plans, obviously, for fuel strategy, tire strategy? You know, how many tires do they have back there? That is the big question, as I am not 100% sure, but here we go. Looks like no one's going to go much farther than lap 24. Is here we go. Snyder's down pit side, Groob's down there with them, and you can see these two able to get a bit of an advantage down pit road over Wiggins, Brad Lane, Bobby Blair, Chris Gilbert, Ryan Peterson, and Tim Blankenbeckler as they all head down pit road. Now that earlier pit stop, will it work out? Will it put Jason LePan and Brandon Deming into a good position out there on the speedway? As Jimmy says, Peacemaker, can I write the lyrics for your next AI song? Brother, I don't even write those, okay? The AI does that. The AI does that. I just type in the commands, and that's what comes up, and I listen to about 4 or 5 of them, make sure that it sounds good, and that's what we roll with, and that way we don't get copyright. But here we go. Race out of pit road. It's Jacob Groob who comes out just in front of Nicholas Snyder. They're going to be quickly under the throttle here, but you can see the gap that they kind of built, but you do see the 77 ride of Brandon Deming making that, lap or 2 earlier pit stop. All of a sudden, that's navigated him up into that 3rd position and hoping to try to reel in our race leaders, but unfortunately, looks like he may still be about a second back from Groob and Snyder. And obviously, you see how far back Brad Lane is here. So those pit stops made a world of difference. And unfortunately for Brad Lane, Bobby Blair, a lot of these drivers that were just down pit road with our race leaders, they were tight with them out there on the racetrack prior to that wave of green flag pit stops. But all of a sudden, now they've got a bit of a gap here, a pretty decent lead. You look at, even Brad Lane back in position number 4. He sits about 2 seconds back of Jacob Groob out there on the racetrack. Bobby Blair is about 3 seconds back. Kyle Wiggins right there behind him. And then we see Chris Gilbert getting towards, that 3.7 seconds behind our race leader on the speedway. Jason LePan, who made that much earlier pit stop here back on lap number 19. This is definitely an interesting one because pitting that early, I could have swore that the tires would have worked out into his favor, that he probably would have leapfrogged a ton of these drivers and probably would have been out in front leading the charge there, pitting that much earlier. But now I'm starting to think here, did Jason LePan make a mistake down pit road? Was there a big issue down pit side and maybe just not having that little bit of a draft, having no drivers around him, maybe kind of killed his momentum out there on the racetrack? But nonetheless, for the 20 ride of LePan, finds himself back here in that 9th position and about 6 seconds back of our race leader on the speedway. Tim Blankenbackler a little farther back there in that number 4 ride. And then we do see Kyle Van Tassel, who is down pit road, kind of midway through that stage right there. And obviously coming down and getting fuel back on lap number 11 for the 13 ride. Now he's back on the lead lap, but he's going to need a caution flag for it to kind of work in his favor here this evening, having that no tire strategy here this evening. As Brian with the trophies in the chat, we love it, we love it. You could be a nice person also if you keep your mouth shut. Hey, that is some words of wisdom right there, Anna. That's definitely some words of wisdom right there for Jimmy 3 times, man. I think he just likes stirring the pot. He likes stirring the pot, and he likes kind of getting the comments rolling in the comment section there as well. He has a lot of fun with that one. That is for certain. But he's always poking fun at Anna. You got to poke fun at somebody else. Poke fun at Brian Underwood. Let's poke fun at Brian or something, or even just myself. Why not, look at Brian, man. He was supposed to win 3 championships in a row in the Premium Stock Car Racing League, and he couldn't get it done last season, okay? Unbelievable that Brian couldn't get that done. That is absolutely crazy. Calls himself the back-to-back champ, and he just can't even win a 3rd championship. He's no Jimmy Johnson, that's for certain, okay? He's no Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy went on a run of 5 championships in a row. Underwood couldn't even get 3. I think it's over for him. I think he's washed, chat. I think Brian's washed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you, Brian. I'm messing with you, brother. He says, yeah, I choked. Oh, brother. We all do it. We all choke at some point in time. That's for certain. I mean, Josh was in there, too. I mean, he had a chance, and he didn't get it either. So, the pack is on top of each other. They're a little bit more spread out. We figured this was going to happen. That's kind of the average Michigan, but you do see our race leader still right there, tight together. Obviously about 3/10, only a couple car lengths there between Jacob Grube and Nicholas Snyder. A little farther back, you do see Brandon Domingue trying to hold on to that 3rd position. Now for Brad Lane, he's got that couple lap better tire. How much of a difference does that make for him here? I feel he's going to have that extra little bit of an advantage over that 77 ride, especially later in this run. So Domingue's going to have to try to do his best as he can here just to try to keep this quick trip ride back there behind him. And Kyle Wiggins not too far away. They're kind of getting a little bit more stacked up here with Wiggins, Gilbert, and Bobby Blair. Maybe that can work into their favor, or, getting a little bit more draft, a little bit more pull off one another. Potentially that'll put them into, contention here in a quick hurry with that 77 and the 1 ride out on the speedway. Is, Underwood says Josh played USA and Holder was Iran on the last lap of that race. We know the ending. Yep. That was pretty much it. So Brian, does that make you Israel in that scenario? Or does that make Gaston Israel? Because it comes out on top. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, no one's a winner in that whole scenario except for the people of Iran. So, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting one. That's definitely an interesting analogy right there, brother. That is for certain. Josh sank Holder's submarine. Yes, he did. And a lot of them, and now Josh is mad that they sunk him and didn't just take him over, capture him, and take him for themselves. Well, you need to stop. You want to write lyrics, but you can't even write. Oh, coming in with the fire flames. Let's go, Anna, let's go. Because you're rode the short bus. Oh, he definitely rode the short bus, that is for certain. Definitely rode the short bus, okay? I think all of us kind of did, honestly. I know Brian did for certain. You can tell by the look on him. Myself, I was there. I was licking windows. I was licking windows with the best of them. That's for certain. Not just kidding. As out in front, though, Jacob Groove hanging on to the top spot here. Snyder's there in second, trying to just stick with him here, man. Obviously not pushing the subject. Probably both drivers really are not really, too worried about burning their stuff up right now. These two are two of the best in the business to do it. They know exactly what to do and how to play this one out. And for the two of them, they know that they're already pretty much locked in to the championship round. They will be the two championship hopefuls and probably the ones with the best odds going into the championship 3 races here again this season. But Jacob Groove's been on such a roll lately. Snyder has won so many races this year. It's been the two of them have been the the talk of the town here in the HCK Beagles week after week after week. But there's always those couple surprising drivers like Brad Lane or Kyle Wiggins, Gilbert, Bobby Blair that could work their way up there, potentially put themselves into victory lane and maybe snag one of the final championship 5 spots away here this evening. As Jay says, I didn't ride the short bus, I drove it. Okay. Groove tore the right front off it. Well, it's still rolling. It's still doing pretty good. It's still doing pretty good here. I mean, he's holding on to that 5 ride, and they're pulling away from the rest of the pack here. I thought maybe we would start to see Brad Lane and Wiggins, Gilbert, some of these guys start to reel back in to that 5 rides back bumper to Jacob Groove out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, though, they're falling farther and farther away here. They're falling back out there on the racetrack as, they came out of the pits. It was only about 1.9 seconds, 1.8 seconds between them and our race leaders. It has now grown to about 2.8 seconds. So they've fallen back almost another second out there on the speedway. So, man, that is a tough one. No, Aaron, no yachting. No yachting. I know. Hey, it's contagious. That is for certain. Okay, it is contagious. Once you get one in, you just cannot stop. And we've been fairly decent here tonight. I mean, we try. We try our best, okay? 11 trucks out there on the racetrack, a 2-mile-long speedway. It can get a little bit tedious at certain points. If it's a short track, if they're tight together, if we saw that good pack racing like we did at the start of the race, no worries at all. But when they get a little bit more sprung out and strung out, it gets a whole lot crazier and a whole lot tougher up here in the broadcast booth. It is not easy up here, chat. We do a lot of... It's a lot of hard work up here, okay? A lot of hard work up here, okay? Don't you ever take your broadcaster for granted, because it is tough up here in the booth, okay? Some nights are easy, some nights are a lot tougher than others, but a lot of times, man, hey, we'll take clean green racing. We'll take that amazing, quality over quantity out there on the racetrack to bring good, hard quality racing. And that's what we get almost on a weekly basis here with the HCK Beagles. I mean, even when we had 20, 25 drivers out there on a weekly basis before we got fired into our playoffs and we started to see those numbers drop down, obviously we saw, a lot of caution-free races, a lot of non-stop green flag battles out there on the racetrack. As Jimmy 3 times says, good night, Aaron. Good night, Jimmy 3 times. You're leaving us, brother? Don't you go yet. You got to keep on watching more amazing racing, man. You got to stick around and watch to the end, man. You got to keep in here. You got to keep up with the racing lore here on Tuesday nights, my boy. As Anna says, isn't it past your bedtime? You have to get up early to go to school on your bus. Yeah, he probably does. I mean, if he was driving, before, he's probably still driving a short bus now, as we do see Snyder able to work his way around Jacob Groove. So Groove falls back into that second spot, but Nicholas Snyder jumps out in front. But now it's game time decisions. When do you come back down pit road? When do you make this, second green flag pit stop? They were able to make it about 24 laps in that first run, so that worked out well for them. It put them into a decent position here, obviously for some good stage points where Grube was able to get the stage win. I believe it might have went to Snyder, but we did see Brad Lane, Gilbert, Wiggins, Bobby Blair all up inside the top 6, all earning stage points here this evening. But for Nicholas Snyder, he's out in front right now, but it may not be for long as Grube is battling back right down to his inside. Here comes Grube, looking to take the race lead back away from Snyder. He still stayed door to door. Slideways though a little bit for the 18 ride. That may kill a bit more of that speed momentum down and out of corner number 4, and that's exactly what you see is the 5 rider. Snyder able to just jump out in front, use that middle lane momentum to pull away and put himself into the race lead here. Give himself a couple truck lengths down into corner number 1 on the speedway. As Snyder though out in front, Grube right there with them. We do start to see the second little group here starting to reel them back in. It was down to about 2.8, 2.9 seconds that they were behind Nicholas Snyder and Jacob Grube, and I think that little bit of battling potentially out of Snyder and Grube, or maybe just their tires starting to fade away here late in this run. We're seeing Brad Lane, Chris Gilbert, Wiggins, and Bobby Blair here, this 4-car tandem, starting to reel their way back up towards the front here. They're starting to work their way back into the action, now under 2 seconds from Nicholas Snyder out there on the racetrack. So they've made up about another second out there on the speedway, and they're going to continue to look to try to hunt those two down, especially prior to our next wave of green flag pit stops. Now, if they made it 24 laps on that first run, I have a sneaky suspicion drivers are probably going to go for somewhere around that same number, maybe go a little bit earlier than that. Maybe they'll come down pit road instead of lap 48. Maybe they'll come down pit road on lap 46, lap 47, try to use that extra lap or two to kind of leapfrog themselves in front of some of the other drivers. But we saw how that kind of worked out for the 77 of Brandon Deming. For Deming, obviously, he'll be down pit road probably at least before lap 46 out there on the racetrack. Jason LePan should be coming down pit road here right now, as his numbers were kind of running out there. He didn't have much left in the tank and finally has to work his way back down pit side here, completing lap 43 for the 20 ride. He'll hit his pit stall. You'll get some service and get some tires, fuel, and get ready to roll that race truck back out onto the speedway. But we'll see where he kind of cycles back out, because here comes our race leaders. Snyder, Grube, gonna at least run another lap as they just completed lap number 44 out there on the racetrack. And I think now for a lot of these drivers, probably in the next 4 laps, it's kind of any time that they're going to want to pull this trigger here. They're going to want to come down pit road, make this pit stop, because I believe that's going to leave them with one more stop here in this race. They pit here around lap 45. Back down pit road, probably somewhere around lap number 67, maybe even lap 65. It'll be another 20-lap run to the end of this race. So I think for a lot of these drivers, that is the big number that they're trying to get to. And as you see, the 5 rider Snyder, Grube, they're going to stay out at least another lap, as they know, hey, you know what? If there is a late race issue, if there is a late race caution flag, they're going to want to make sure they have it, maybe that extra, gallon or 2 in their tank, so that way they can go to NASCAR overtime. But the more that they run out here on the speedway, the closer and closer we're seeing Brad Lane, Chris Gilbert, Kyle Wiggins, Bobby Blair reel them in. The gap between them and our race leader is now only a second and a half out there on the speedway. So they are closing in at a pretty decent rate here to Snyder and Grube. But right here at the end of these green flag pits, or this cycle of green flag pit stops, and getting ready for another cycle of green flag pit stops, how will it play out for them? As here we go, we do see Grube headed down pit road. We did see Brandon Ming just down pit side as well in that 77 ride. So for his Ridge Powersports KR Gutters machine down and out of pit lane. But here comes the Metal Morphosis machine LLC number 18. Grube as he'll head down pit side. He'll make his second and probably the middle pit stop here, and a little bit of a mistake right there out of the 18 ride. You saw him get in there maybe just a little bit too far, he was still inside the lines, but you can see it right here. Slides in. Slides a little too far, has to throw it in reverse a couple feet there for the crew to go to work and to finally get that service started. That extra second or two down pit road could be the difference maker between, potentially winning this race or, coming home second, just getting a top 5 run. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out for that 18 ride as Tim Blankenbeckler now going to work the Just Fishing Tim's Tiny Boat Adventures number 4 ride. Down pit side is the Juke Joint Machine. Looking really, really good here today, man. He's been running smooth. He's been having some really good races. Maybe not quite the finishes that I think Tim's deserved, but still running really, really strong here, week after week after week. And we can't wait to see how he continues to progress out there on the racetrack. As here comes our race leader. Oh, baby, got a little squirrely there down pit road. Luckily enough, was able to get checked up. Did not speed down pit side. That was the one big thing you got to worry about. If you get a pit road speeding penalty here, you're probably not going to lose a lap, but you could potentially lose a lap if it's a 1-minute hold. But if it's only 30 seconds, you may still stay on the lead lap. But you're going to lose all that track position with no caution flags. It would virtually, kind of be a night ender, as you do see, obviously, everyone else coming down with them. We see Chris Gilbert, we see Brad Lane down pit road, we saw obviously Snyder, but here's Bobby Blair, Ryan Peterson, Kyle Wiggins, all down pit side as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on where Jacob Grube kind of comes out here in comparison to the rest of these drivers. Snyder's just getting rolling here back in on the racetrack. Grube is going to be rolling down into corner number 1. He's got that speed, he's got that momentum. Where will they stack up? Now that mistake out of pit lane, I think may cost this number 18 ride. What he was hoping for was a decent little bit of a gap, a little bit of a lead here. You see Snyder jump up in front of him. Grube, though, with that lead and with all that speed, able to just jump up, take it away, and keep himself just in front of Nicholas Snyder. But now Snyder does have that 1 lap better tire. Does he take advantage of it right now? Does he push a little harder, try to work his way back around this 18 machine of Jacob Grube, or do we see him kind of do almost what we saw out of that last run? Kind of just sit back there, sit behind the 18 ride, not push the subject, not push too hard, and then later in the run, jump up and steal that race lead from him. But I don't know, he's already looking down to the inside. We may see Snyder just kind of blow his doors off right here, jump back out in front, try to lead as many laps as he can, and hope to lead the most laps on the day here for any bonus points that may include. As Grube, though, able to hold him off, stays in that top spot, as we do see Kyle Van Tassel. Unfortunately here for Van Tassel, he will officially fall a lap down here. Now, he's still on a completely different pit cycle than everybody else. He was down pit road back on lap number 11 to start this race, virtually, 12, 13 laps prior to the rest of the field, and then here again, he's, another 10, 11 laps earlier down pit side than the rest of these drivers here in front of him. So I'm not sure what the strategy call was there out of Kyle Van Tassel. We'll wait and see how this plays out for the 13 ride, but obviously so far not working out into his favor as things are kind of a little bit more balanced out right now, and he finds himself already a lap down out there on the racetrack. That is not a fun spot to be, as Grube and Snyder going to continue their battle here at the front of the field. And once again, coming down pit road, they were able to get a little bit of an advantage here. They got 2 seconds between themselves and Brad Lane. So Lane rolls in position number 3 out there on the speedway. Brandon Domingue is in position number 4 coming down pit road, a lap or a few laps earlier than the drivers that are back here behind him. So he's trying to leapfrog them that short pit, hoping that it will work out and play into his favor, especially late in this race. But we saw how it worked for him in that first run. I'm not sure if it'll play out any differently here in this second run for the 77 machine. As here comes Bobby Blair, Chris Gilbert, Kyle Wiggins. They have 3 lap better tires than that 77 ride, and that is a big difference maker here at Michigan International Speedway, and that may just kind of shuffle them right back outside our top 5 and outside the top 6 out here on the speedway. As you see, Bobby Blair makes quick work of them, so does the 45 of Chris Gilbert, and now Kyle Wiggins able to slide up and clear him down and out of corner number 2. So for Brandon Domingue, did not last long in that 4 4th position and now falling right back into 7th out there on the speedway. Tim Blankenbeckler a little farther back from those guys in that 8th position with Ryan Peterson in the Ridge Powersports. KR Gutters, number 469, right there in that 9th position. Jason LePan, unfortunately, he's been on a little bit of a different pitch strategy here as well for LePan. Hasn't really worked out into his favor here as well, as he finds himself about 22 seconds behind our race leaders, and he was down pit road about 8 laps earlier than they were, so I'm not sure what the strategy call for the 20 ride has been here this evening, but so far has not played out too swell for him here tonight as well, as we do see Kyle Van Tassel. Unfortunately, he did go a lap down. He's in the free pass right now. He's the only driver 1 lap down, and if we were to see a caution flag, it would be a big yellow to get him back onto the lead lap, back into the action here this evening with the lucky dog out on the speedway. But Snyder back out in front, gets around Groob. Groob falls back into position number 2. Brad Lane still about that 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds back here behind Snyder and Groob out on the racetrack, and he'll be looking to try to reel them in, especially later in this run like we saw there during that last, cycle out there on the speedway. With these tires, it seemed like the one ride saved a little bit more, a little bit better than Snyder and Groob, and was reeling them in late in this race. But now, I feel these final 2 pit stops are probably going to be a little bit shorter here. I feel we're going to see these guys come back down pit road somewhere around lap number 65. Maybe even lap 66 or 67, maybe. I don't think they're even going to go that far. I think we're going to see these guys probably back down pit road right around that lap 65 marker, and that's going to kind of really split this race up, because it's going to give them, a fairly short run here in this middle stage, plus a very short run, that 20 laps. Maybe if they go to lap 67, it'd be 18 laps until we see, the checkered flag. So it's all about those tires, baby, out there on the racetrack and hitting that strategy right. And so far, it's been all Snyder and Groob out in front. They've been doing a great job at it, but we'll have to wait and see if maybe some late race charges out of Brad Lane, Bobby Blair, Chris Gilbert, any of these other cats can find their way up and into victory lane. But as of right now, Snyder holds on to the top spot. Groob right there in tow, as we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor here this evening. Hit the like on the stream for us. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. And turn up that volume and cheer on these amazing drivers here with the HCK Beagles. Alrighty, a beautiful crank it up session out there on the speedway as these drivers give us the sights and sounds out there at Michigan International Speedway. But our final wave of green flag pit stops has been upon us, and we have seen already Snyder, our race leader, Jacob Grube, who was running in second, and a lot of these other drivers make their way down pit side and make what could be their, well, more than likely will be their final pit stop of this race, unless we see a late race caution flag and someone has an extra set or something back there behind pit wall. And unfortunately for one driver here, throughout all three waves of green flag pit stops here this evening, it's Bobby Blair, the 75 machine, the only driver to earn a black flag down pit road. Too fast entering pit road for the 75 rider Bobby Blair. Unfortunately, that will mean he's going to come down pit side, serve a penalty, and you see him doing it right now in for a truck that was running pretty solidly up inside the top 6, almost inside that top 5, looking to try to work his way into that championship round. This mistake may really hurt him here this evening. This one could set him back a ton and potentially take him out of that championship 5 here this year. So we'll have to wait and see what the final point standings are as we finally see Ryan Peterson and Tim Blankenbeckler as they were out a little longer there, leading the charge out there on the speedway. But we saw Jacob Grube come down pit road back on lap number 64. Now, he came down pit road quite a bit earlier than everybody else. We saw now everyone's kind of came down pit side here. Lap 68 for Snyder, lap 69 for Brad Lane and Gilbert Wiggins, and obviously, a couple other drivers like Brandon Ming, Jason LePan, they were down pit side a little bit sooner. And we did see Bobby Blair and obviously now Ryan Peterson and Tim Blankenbeckler making these final pit stops here of the day so far, as obviously that late race yellow could potentially persuade some of these drivers to come back down pit side here late in this race. But with the 18 rider Grube coming down pit road that early, he was able to leapfrog Snyder. He was out in front by about 2 seconds, but now with about 4 lap older tires, he may be a bit of a sitting duck out there on the racetrack, because Snyder is reeling him in here, and not a little bit here, a quick bit. It was 0.3 of a second faster for the 5 right than Jacob Grube last time around the racetrack, and it was 2 seconds of a gap between Grube and Snyder when Grube came back, or when Snyder came back out on the speedway, and over just the last 3-4 laps, he's cut back to less than a second here between himself and Jacob Grube. And unfortunately, Grube's tires are going to continue to get worse and worse and worse here, a whole lot sooner than Nicholas Snyder. So Snyder will be just probably continue to reel him in here, and I think it's going to be, Jacob Grube going to have to throw some really big blocks, try to be really, really defensive here out in front, trying to dump dirty air, trying to steal runs away from that 5 right, and probably race more out of the mirror than at the front windshield here in these closing laps. As the laps are clicking down in a quick hurry, we are inching closer and closer to the checkered flag here this evening. So one mistake, one bad move out there on the speedway could put you in a good spot or put you in a really bad spot out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to wait and see, what these guys are able to do, because it could be that one big block that could spin the 18 right around, or it could lose the nose of the 5 right of Snyder, where all of a sudden he slides back, another, 5, 6, 7 truck lengths, and may not be able to find that speed momentum again to reel back to the 18's back bumper. So it's going to be a really quick move here for the 5 right. I think he's going to work his way around this 18 as quick as possible. There cannot be any waiting. There cannot be any holding back. And I think right there was his golden opportunity to slide up in front of the 18, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it, even with more of that middle side momentum. The 4-lap better tires for Nicholas Snyder just proved that much better, able to just punch it down low, drive right underneath and around the 18 right. And for Grube, really just had nothing for him there late in that run. And unfortunately, now with only 10 laps left to go here in this race, Snyder's just going to look to continue to pull farther and farther away from the rest of the field, man. That is absolutely insane. That is going to be a lot of fun to see, if he can try to reel him in, if he can try to jump up there and battle and maybe try to steal one of these Maybe trying to steal that win back away from him, but I just don't see it. I mean, that 4-lap tire is a big stretch here. Unless if Grube, ever since he kind of came back out on the racetrack, has not been running to his full extent, may have been saving a little bit more, and obviously Snyder may be a little bit harder on his tires right now, so you're going to wonder if maybe Jacob Grube has been kind of playing coy here over this run and is just kind of waiting for these tires to more balance out, maybe go a little bit more into his favor. But if that's not the case, man, then he's just going to continue to see this 5 ride get smaller and smaller out of his front windshield. The gap is already 0.8 of a second, and unfortunately, I don't know if I see him getting back to him, Chad. I think it's Nicholas Snyder's race to lose, late race caution flag, or some sort of a late race issue for the HendrickCars.com number 5 ride would be the only way I think that Snyder's going to lose this one, man. A driver that makes not a lot of mistakes out there on the speedway. He's very, very calculated in everything that he does. He's won a lot of races on this season, and I know he's been waiting to try to get back up into victory lane, kind of build that momentum back up for himself here, and obviously heading into our championship round, next week. And for the next 3 races, battling for that championship with Jacob Grube. I know Nick wants to have that momentum on his side and wants to be, locked in as best as he can for that final round. As we saw these guys, Grube and Snyder were both in our championship round last year. Jacob Grube came in and swept that final round of our playoffs, won all 3 championship races at the end of the season to win the championship from Nicholas Snyder. And through that run, we saw Snyder make mistakes that he normally doesn't make. And all season long, he's been trying to minimize those, learn from those, and try to make sure that when it comes time in the most important times on the racetrack, that he doesn't make those mistakes. And here tonight, he's been very mistake-free, and it looks like he's going to be able to drive home into what could be a very big win here tonight for him, as he's kind of on cruise control. 6 laps left to go here. He's got 1.3 seconds now between himself and this Metal Morphosis machine at number 18 ride. So for Snyder, he's just on cruise control here at the front of the field, man. He is going to be exact about this one. He knows that this is going to be a big win for him, and we'll have to wait to see what the point standings are going to look like, because I know there was some really tight points out there. I know with Bobby Blair and with Brad Lane, Chris Gilbert, Kyle Wiggins, Brandon Deming, points were really, really tight between all those drivers here, coming into this final elimination race and trying to work their way into that championship 5. It may be a big, swing. Someone may work their way in, someone may get knocked out, and if that is the case, we may see, 3 or 4 teammates in this next round. If Brad Lane, Chris Gilbert, Kyle Wiggins can kind of leapfrog Brandon Deming and potentially Bobby Blair, they could work their way into that championship round, and unfortunately that would give them an extra advantage over Jacob Grube in that last 3 races of the season, as Grube may be the only driver not a part of the team inside that championship 5 here next Tuesday night. And for right now, man, for the Warrior Racing team, Grube kind of holding that torch, but man, that team ASS has been looking stout here the last couple weeks. We'll have to wait and see, because the points may be a little bit too much of a gap here. Maybe Bobby Blair not too far back. Obviously, you look at Brad Lane, he's running in 3rd, Chris Gilbert's running there in 4th, and Wiggins in 5th. Maybe that's enough for them to leapfrog the 75 ride, but maybe it's not, and maybe Bobby Blair will work one of the HP Motorsports rides at least into our championship round. Maybe Brandon Deming still works his way into it here. You never know. Late race mistakes may make the difference here. That 1 spot, 2 spots out there on the racetrack, every single position, every single point is going to matter here for those drivers. Now, we know for Snyder and Grube, they're pretty much locked in. They're locked in. They've got no problem, no worries in the world out in front of this field. And, with 2.5 laps left to go here in this race, Snyder definitely doesn't have any worries. He's out front, 2.6 seconds now between himself and Jacob Grube. But Grube, I think he's really seeing that these tires were really important here, and unfortunately he has fallen like a rock, and Brad Lane is chasing him down here, and I think at this rate, I think that Grube may fall back to third here. Brad Lane may be able to steal the second spot away from that 18 machine, and if that's the case, that may be that 1 point that maybe works Brad Lane into the championship 5. Maybe it knocks Brandon Ming or Bobby Blair, or maybe even one of his own teammates with Chris Gilbert or Kyle Wiggins out of maybe that final playoff position here going into that championship 5 next week. So points are really, really tight. The racing is really, really fun. And for these drivers, man, give a round of applause for them again, because they have been 83 laps already nonstop green flag racing as the 5 ride of Snyder exits quarter number 4, back down and across the line. He will see the white flag fly here this evening. As you see the 75, what's gone wrong here for the 75 ride? Bobby Blair off the pace. I think he may be out of fuel. He may have cut it too close, maybe just trying to get a little bit too much down pit side. Not only caught speeding, but maybe did not get enough fuel in the 75 ride. Now he's on cruise, just trying to coast his way back down to the checkered flag. Unfortunately for Bobby Blair, he'll fall back into that 10th position, losing 1 extra spot to Jason LePan. As for the final time here this evening, down through quarter number 3, nice and easy out at quarter number 4, it's Nicholas Snyder who will win here at Michigan with a battle back to the line. Grube able to hold off the late race charge there from Brad Lane. Lane will come home in 3rd, Grube there in 2nd, Chris Gilbert back in 4th with Kyle Wiggins, Brandon Deming, Ryan Peterson back there currently right now in that 7th position. Tim Blankenbeckler right there with them. And for the final time out of 4 for those two, it will be Ryan Peterson in 7th. Tim Blankenbeckler rounding out our top 8. Unfortunately, Jason LePan, Bobby Blair back there in the 9th and 10th position, and Kyle Van Tassel bringing up the rear of the field in 11th. But it's all Nicholas Snyder here in this one, man. Great run, great drive there for Slick Nick out there on the speedway. Slick Nick Snyder gets it done here in this one, puts himself right back up into victory lane, a place that he is very familiar with here on this season, man. A lot of wins, a lot of celebrations here, and obviously this is a big one because now locked in to that championship 5 for the 5 machine. Snyder knows that he's got the momentum, he's got that extra chip on his shoulder going in to our final 3 race series of these playoffs, and trying to put himself in as the potential last ever HCK Beagles Truck Series champion here. So for Snyder, he's looking to get it done because the HCK Beagles, unfortunately, I'm not too sure, by the sounds of it, they may be done after this season. So unfortunately, those Tuesday nights may be going somewhere else, and I think for a lot of these drivers, I think they may be joining our Monday night Truck Series and ending this Tuesday night series. So we'll have to wait and see what the call is there, but we do know for each and every one of these drivers to win this championship, get that chip on your shoulder, they have that accolade, man. They're all chasing it down. They all want to get it done. And obviously here tonight for Snyder, Grube, Brad Lane, great runs, great performances for all 3 of them, but only one driver gets to celebrate in the Michigan International Speedway victory lane, and that is Nick Snyder. As we'll get ready to pull Nick up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Nick, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Nick, man, another great run, another great race for yourself here this evening, man. Take us back through this one. It's early on. Seemed like you fell back there a little bit through that first, 5-6 laps out on the speedway, and it seemed like maybe it was just, saving a little tire there, because all of a sudden, you let loose, and you just start picking off all the spots that you leaked at the start of this race, and you work your way right back to Jacob Grube's back bumper. You guys battled for a while. Finally, you're able to navigate your way around him. You steal that top spot, and then from that first pit stop on, it was really between you and Grube, and obviously he took a big swing coming down pit road there on lap 64 to try to give give himself that, little bit of a leapfrog back in front of you, hoping that it would pay off for him. Unfortunately, the tire's just too important, and you were able to reel him in a quick hurry, close that 2-second gap, work yourself back around him, and then just drive away from Groob late in this race and into victory lane here as you're on cruise control really for those final 10 laps. But man, take us back through it. What's going through your mind after another great night and another 85 laps of nonstop green flag racing?
Yeah, those first, I don't know, 10 laps. I was just trying to ride and whatever. I was trying not to bleed too much. And, once got past twice, maybe even three times, I was like, all right, I can't fall back too much because I knew Arrow was going to play an effect. And um, the line that I'm used to running here in 1 and 2, it wasn't working. It was slow. So, I had to change it up a bit. So, my line in 3 and 4 stayed the same. Just 1 and 2, just had to switch my driving style a little bit. But no, all in all, it was a great battle with Jacob. As always, him and I raced really hard. There's a couple times where I had to, you know, arrow block him just so he wouldn't get a run down the front or back stretch. And I mean, he did the same thing to me, a couple times. It's just all part of truck racing now with with how the arrow is now. But yeah, I felt like Jacob was better getting to pit road than me. He beat me for the stage win, so I just had to clean that up a bit.
Yeah, able to steal that stage win away from you, but man, that was a heck of a show, another heck of a race. Obviously, we knew tires, fuel were going to be a bit of an issue here. Obviously, just trying to figure out when you want to make that final pit stop. When you saw the 18 come down there on lap 64, was it ever your prerogative? Did you think maybe you were going to come down pit road in a lap or two, or was it always the game plan to stay out, a little bit longer than that 18 ride, and then just try to use the fresher tires to get back around them late in this race?
I kind of played with it during that second stint of the run. When I stayed out like 2 laps longer than Jacob, I didn't realize it helped me. I actually was gonna come down when Jacob came down, but um, I decided to wait one more lap. Just talking with my team and stuff. We all decided just to stay out. And then when he pitted, I was like, well, I can't just wait a lap earlier than him, and I are pretty much on equal tires. And once you get going here, it's so hard to pass. I mean, you have to pull a slider, and when you do that, you just eat your right front away. So I just played a little bit of a strategy there. Not really though, but just running 4 or 5 laps longer, and hopefully the tires would pay off, and it did.
Yeah, it paid off majorly for you as you're able to make quick work of him, slide up in front of him, have that race lead, and then just left him in the dust. I thought maybe he put up a little bit of a fight there with you, but there was no fight left out of that 18 truck as he watched you drive away and sail into the sunset here this afternoon, and now get to he gets to watch it from pit side here, celebrate down there in victory lane as Nick, you park it back up here in the winner's circle. Man, it's great to see you back up here, back into form. Obviously, you wanted that momentum, you wanted to kind of get the season, for the final 3 races, you want that extra little chip on your shoulder here. You think you got that here tonight with the win? Do you think that maybe gives you that extra little bit of an edge going into our final championship races?
I mean, yeah, it definitely helps. Build your confidence going up into Nashville, Homestead, and Atlanta. Um, you know, I got 2 good tracks on the schedule for me. But the top 5, they're no slouch. So you don't have to bring your A game all 3 races to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see who's going to be able to get it done and who will pick up the championship here this season. But Nick, great run, great drive for you. You're able to pick up the dub here at Michigan. Who'd you like to thank again tonight for another great run and great drive out there on the racetrack?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody that took their time out on a Tuesday to watch the race. Hopefully, it was exciting. I know it was. From my point of view, slicing and dicing, through traffic, through cars. Would like to, thank you as well, Aaron, for taking your time out, and all the admins of HCK for giving us a reason to race on Tuesday night. I'd like to thank FloCon, Florida Contractors, Billy B's, everyone that's a part of, my team in real life with the 360 program, and now we're venturing off into the late model program.
Beauty. Well, that is definitely exciting, man, and we can't wait to, hear about it and see out there, maybe in some other, races and everything else, and parking yourself not only here virtually in Victory Lane, but in real life on Victory Lane as well in the late models or the sprint cars.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, great run, great drive, man. We can't wait to see you guys back in action again next Tuesday night, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Mr. Nick Snyder. As Anna says, we appreciate and love you, Peacemaker. We appreciate that, Anna. That's too lovely of you. That's too lovely of you. We always love those messages, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the racing here this evening as we'll get to our final two post-race interviews here. We'll pull in our second place finisher, Mr. Jacob Grube, right now. Hey, Jacob, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
I got you, Aaron.
Jake, man, great run, great drive for you here this evening. Obviously, it was going to be another tight one between you and that 5 ride of Nick Snyder. And unfortunately here, maybe just that little too early of a final pit stop cost you here this afternoon, as obviously those pressure tires are able to just drive right around you. He drives into Victory Lane, and you're just trying to hold on and keep that thing pointing in the right direction. And luckily enough there, late in this race, able to hold off Brad Lane for the second place finish, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind after 85 laps here at Michigan.
Yeah, well, congrats to Nick. I knew he was going to be fast here, so I was just trying everything I could do to possibly stay in front of him. Then once he got by me, I was just trying to stay in his draft, and then messed up on my pit a little bit, and then kind of got behind, and then that last pit stop was just a desperate attempt to make something happen. But yeah, he's just fast, and it's hard all night getting behind somebody in the middle of the corner. So yeah, it's hard to stay behind him and draft, and then he kind of breaks away, and that was it.
Yeah, absolutely broke away. And once he kind of broke that trap, there was nothing left there for you as he kept falling farther and farther away. You watch him drive off into the sunset, but now you got to play a little bit more defense to hold off that one machine of Brad Lane, man. Take us back through that one, because obviously you want to stay here in second, but man, it was some tight racing there, especially down out of corner number 4, coming back to that checkered flag, and you're able to just edge out the one machine here late in this race to stay in P2.
Yeah, he was coming on strong. I didn't think it was going to be much of a fight at all. But once I realized it was the last lap, told myself I was just going to run the high line and try to carry momentum off the corner. So that's what I did, and thankfully had just enough.
Yeah, just enough. Beat him back here across the line as he parked that metal Morphosis machine. Number 18 up and into position number 2 here this evening. And now obviously into our championship 3 races, man. How do you feel going into that championship round, trying to, pick up another championship here on the year?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm not sure where we're going to be at when the points resettle and stuff, but no matter, we're going to give it a full effort and try to come ready to win every week.
Absolutely going to be exciting final 3 races of the season to see, who out of the championship 5 will be able to get it done and be crowned our champion here this year. But Jacob, who would you like to thank for another great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I thank the sponsor, Metamorphosis Machine, and then my teammate there, Jason. He knows he's good here. He knows I'm not so good, so he came out last night to help me prepare, or excuse me, was it Sunday night, to get on and practice for a little while, help me prepare. So thanks to him.
Yeah, huge shout out, man. Teamwork makes the dream work. And here tonight, obviously, for yourself, a good run, a solid drive. And we can't wait to see what you guys got in store for us for our first race of the final round here next Tuesday night. And see if you can join us right back up here in the broadcast booth, maybe one spot better, and up into Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Aaron.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Jacob Grube. Grube comes home here in position number 2 as we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, Brad Lane. All right, so the session is over, so we'll try to play this back here and jump in there. It's crazy because it says that it's 3 hours and we did not run this race in 3 hours, so it shouldn't have a problem with it. But we'll get that rolling again. We just got to keep playing it back, so that way you guys can get a good look there at Brad Lane's thumbnail right there, and still see the racetrack as well. So we'll get Brad up here into the booth. Hey, Brad, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Hey, Aaron, I got you.
Brad, man, great run, great race here this afternoon, man. Obviously, that first stint, very, very racy, a lot of back and forth, too wide, everyone making moves out there on the speedway and slicing and dicing it up. And we knew, obviously, once we saw that first wave of green flag pit stops, that things were going to get a little bit more broken up. And for yourself, you didn't have a bad pit stop, but it still seemed like, obviously, Snyder and Grube were able to just get that extra little bit of an edge, get in front of you, and then you just had to try to play catch up there late in this, first kind of run of the day. You were able to slowly work your way back up to them before that second wave of green flag pit stops, but it seemed like all evening it was just that, 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds kind of a gap between you and the top two here this evening until Groom made a big swing there at the end, going down pit road quite a bit earlier than everybody else. And here in the closing laps, man, you almost stole that second spot away from him, but right there on the final lap, he's able to beat you back down to the line. But brother, take us back through this race and your performance out there on the speedway.
Yeah, the first green flag run, it was fun but frustrating. You couldn't get away from anybody. I feel like you're doing everything you can to hold people off, but people are just drafting down the straightaway. But the air game was crazy. I mean, the aerodynamics and just the dirty air, getting behind somebody or catching somebody's wake, it would just do different things with the truck, and it was kind of a little tough to figure out. But yeah, Nick and Jacob, they had something figured out hitting pit road. I think a lot of it was me being very cautious due to where I sat in points. I didn't want to. I knew if I just took it easy entering pit road and not sliding through my pit box, that I would be okay because I felt like I was fast enough on the track. I didn't want the pit road to be an issue. So I think that's the reason why they gapped me a little bit. But yeah, I was catching Jacob. I wish I would have pitted the same lap Nick did because I need that extra lap now with fresher tires. But yeah, it was a good run. I was pleased with the race. It was fun at the beginning, and it was sort of fun at the end trying to run down Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely gave you a goal there late in this one. If tires were a little bit more balanced there and you were kind of just, in no man's land with no one to your back bumper and you weren't catching that 18 ride, man, you would have just been on cruise control, counting the laps down, waiting to get out of here. But there at the end, it gave you something great to race for, trying to steal that second spot away from the 18 ride. And went on a great show for us to watch you track him down out there on the speedways. Brad, great run, great race for you again here tonight. Obviously, points are tight. I'm not sure how they're going to work out between you and Gilbert, Wiggins, Domingue, and Bobby Blair, who ran into some pit road mistakes here this afternoon on who's going to be the other 3 drivers into our championship 5. But, man, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what you guys got in store for us when we head into those final 3 races for the championship starting next week.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the final or the updated standings. So obviously Jacob and Nick, myself, Chris Gilbert, and Brandon, all 5 of us advanced.
All right, well, there you go. So Brandon, Chris Gilbert, Brad Lane, Grube, and Snyder are going to be your championship 5 here for the next 3 races to duke it out, man. How do you feel? Obviously, you got to feel like a little bit of David versus Goliath there, trying to hunt down and beat Grube and Snyder here for these next 3 races, man. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I'm just glad there's no short tracks or road courses in the final 3. The final 3 races suit my driving style, and so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more of these 2-mile race tracks, a little bit more of strategy that gets into it and everything else. So it's gonna be fun to see what you got in store for us and see if you can try to knock those 2 off the top here and maybe steal this championship from them, or maybe Gilbert or Domingue will come out and surprise us here for the final 3 weeks of the season. But man, great run tonight, another great finish, and obviously another podium for the quick trip number 1. Brad, who'd you like to thank for another great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, just the league's been awesome. I know it's dwindled down a little bit due to the playoffs and things like that, and people not advancing and just not wanting to race. But everybody races clean, have fun. My teammates, we always help out with strategy. My parents like to watch. I think my neighbors are watching, so just want to thank them for tuning in and watching us race on Tuesday nights.
Absolutely. Well, Brad, great run, great drive, man. Congratulations on the third place finish, and we look forward to seeing you back out there on the Speedway next Tuesday for our first championship race of the season.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Mr. Brad Lane. Lane comes home here in that third spot and rounds out the podium here tonight. And obviously now with that post-race interview coming to a close, that's going to bring the broadcast to a close. So unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. No, I'm just kidding. You guys can watch all of our previous broadcasts and other videos and everything else, man. You guys can stay here and keep watching as long as you want. Unfortunately, though, that is going to do it for us up here in the booth, though. So, unfortunately, we'll be calling it a night. So, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream for us. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. But that is going to do it for us here this evening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all back here in the next one. We'll be back here in the booth again tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune in again and enjoy some more amazing racing here on Peacemaker Gaming. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Vision. Planning. Possibility. At Morphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Morphosis can elevate your machining needs today. Precision. Planning. Possibility. At Morphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Morphosis can elevate your machining needs today. Precision.